and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing part 3 of my everything I've ever coloured, and that includes whips, so works in progress if you're not familiar with that term. Yeah, let's get started. Move them away. Okay, we'll start with this one. This was actually the first mandala book I ever got, because initially I didn't think I would like mandalas. I was wrong. I got this last summer, so I think about June 2019, so I've actually done quite a few in here. I love the black background, so in this I used exclusively gel pens, at least so far, and in this case I've used my neon ones. I did that on the 6th of July, and this one I did in metallic gel pens, which, you know, looks okay. I think the camera can pick up, you know, it's got that nice metallic sheen to it, but with the black background it didn't pop out as much as I hoped it would, so that's the only one I've done in metallic gel pens. I much prefer this style, so with the neons and the pastel colours that I don't usually use on anything else, this is perfect for my gel pens. I love the black backgrounds. Really makes things interesting. So we'll skip through to head to some more. Again, I've got to use that neon pink, and they're not even fancy gel pens. I don't use anything good in these books, for want of a better word. Most of these have been done last summer. I went away for a long weekend, and also I took this on holiday. This is a well-travelled book. It's been to Florida and everywhere, but this is a particularly colourful one. And another one, this one's actually neon glitter gel pens, though this is one of the first ones I did, I think, so it's already losing its glitter. Most of the glitter is on this side, but these I did these with Colour Technic gel pens. Yeah, so I did that last June. And there's another one. I've done that again in glitter gel pens. The blue doesn't stand out quite as much as I hoped it would do. And I like this one a lot. I don't think there's any other here. This one is with the pastels. Pastel colour gel pens. Again, there was Colour Technic. I got a big set. There was like 120 in a packet. Mostly I wanted them for the glitter and the metallics. And I had all these excess pens, not excess exactly, but, you know, pens that don't get used so often in books. But this book is perfect for that sort of thing. In fact, quite often I just pull out a couple of pens and pick up the book and just choose. That's why all of my pictures in here are random. I don't do this thing where it's like I've got to do them in order. I just pick a page usually. I mean, wow, look at that. It's like, if a mandala could punch you in the face, that probably would. I mean, it's just so bright. I would never use a pink like that, I don't think, in a colouring book. So that's all I've done from that one. And then I've got my Belba family mystery mosaics. This is the only Belba family book I've got so far. I wanted to try not just a colour by number, though I did get a couple of colour by number books as well recently. But this one I wanted to try because it's like the block method, and also I'd seen people doing the cross stitch method. So I finally gave in and got this book. I've only got this a couple of weeks ago, so I've not done much in it. I've done my pigs, which is so cute. And I've done. So this is the first picture I've done. You might have seen this. I'm on Instagram. I've only just joined Instagram. Can you believe it? 2 years of colouring, and I joined Instagram basically when I started this channel. It's a lot of fun. If you're on Instagram, come find me. It's the same name as my YouTube channel. But anyway, I posted this on my Instagram. When I first got the book, as I say, you can do block method or cross stitch method, and I couldn't make up my mind which one I wanted to do. So I photocopied the page, which was this page. It was the unicorn page, as you can see, and I did one as block and I did one as cross stitch. I enjoyed it so much that I did both of these in the same evening. I finished that one and was like, right, on to the next. and I straight away did it afterwards. So a lot of fun. These, you don't require a lot of thinking for these. The one thing I will say though is with all the numbers, like, it can send you a little bit cross-eyed, especially when you've got like 15s and 16s next to each other. So I don't think I would ever do 2 on the bounce like that again, because my eyes were just, yeah, aching, literally physically aching from strain. Mad. But anyway, enough of my wibbling. So anyway, I decided I preferred the block method for this book, as you saw for the pigs. But I do like the cross stitch. I do these in alcohol marker as well, by the way. Except this one I did with the Arteza fine liners. So it just depends what style you like, really. And then I've done one more, which is my banana parrot. I don't know why he's a banana parrot. I mean, are they throwing him at the bananas? I don't know. But yeah, so that's all I've done. That's actually a sneak peek of my July finished pages there, because as I say, I've only had this book a couple of weeks. So that will all be in my July finished pages. So next, I almost didn't include this one because this is whip and it's a very, it's like a token effort whip. I need to get back to this, but basically I started to base my unicorn in yellow alcohol marker. If you've not seen the earlier parts of this, the witch's colouring heaven, where I made the ginger man, I thought I'd make him really pale and I ended up making him yellow. It's that same marker. That marker hated me because I was trying to do the horse here and he ran out. My marker ran out, so it's really patchy. And at the time, I was so annoyed. But now I look at it and I'm thinking, well, he's a horse. He's not going to be like, it saves me some shading, basically. So I really need to get back to this and do him, because I could do my unicorn horn in those pastels, couldn't I? And I love those pastels, the Marco Raffine pastels. But yeah, that's the only thing I've done in this book. Shame on me. So this is the Colouring Heaven collection. So this is not the monthly subscription. This is the ones that come out usually quarterly. And this was I don't usually buy them because I have enough trouble keeping up with the monthly subscription. But this was the Christmas one. It was really good. So I picked this up. I've done a couple in here. I've got a couple of works in progress in here as well. So this is one of my works in progress. I was actually hoping to get this, well, I still am hoping to get this done for Christmas in July. Kate's Colouring Haven, I'll link her channel in the description, but her hashtag, well, initially it started off a hashtag for July, but I think now she's made it to the end of the year. It was whipping the whips, so basically, you know, to go back to some of these whips and tackle them. So I have done a little bit this month. I've put on all the shading onto this dress here and stuff, and whited out the key line on the snow. But I need to finish her, basically. I need to get more shading in on her face, get a bit more glitter on the wings, and like colouring her belt and accessories, and then that would be done. So I'm hoping that will be in my July finished pages as well. I've got like a week to do it, so we'll see. Hopefully it won't take long. And then I've done this one, which is one of the Good Wives and Warriors pictures. I did it all in gel pen, glitter gel pen, that is, obviously, because it's Christmas. So it's kind of shiny. I did have a little splodgy. I have this bad habit of, no matter how hard I try, I always manage somehow to like put my hand in it and then I stamp it across the page. Yeah, but so that's my glitter bar humbug. And here's another whip. So basically I just bought some cheapy pencils from Ollie's because I had this book on holiday with me when I went to Florida, and Ollie's had this set of pencils for that I'd been hearing was getting really good reviews as such from people who'd used them. It was a set of 20, I think, or 24 for like $2.99, but they was really soft and waxy and pigmented. So I got them to try out, and they're decent pencils. I do still use them occasionally, mostly the biggest problem with that set is it was too small a set. There wasn't enough colours. But I sat down while I was on vacation in Disney World and started colouring this. So yeah, I came home from holiday and didn't finish it. I should. If I dig out the pencils, I could even do the same. And I think that's all except for my handling at the back. So I really liked how this turned out, even though I made this huge boo-boo on it. So it was like I was saying in the earlier part. If you've not seen the earlier parts of my completed pages, I'll put a link up in the corner. I've done 2 parts prior to this, obviously, so I'll put it as a playlist. But I mentioned in one of the earlier parts, I made this huge mistake. It was like a complete mess, and then I covered it up with black acrylic. So never give up on your picture. In this case, I was like, right, I'm going to have a nice dark blue background, and it was the first thing I did, because I've done this in, based this in alcohol marker, as is my habit. I was like, right, I'll put in the blue, and I started putting the blue, and I went up the top, and then I was coming around here, and I was like, oh, that's not the background anymore. That was like the Christmas wreath. So of course I'd got round to here. Them bits I didn't realise. Carried it on. Got to there. I was like, oh, what have I done? So I had no choice really. I either abandoned the picture or I blagged it. So I blagged it. So I coloured the whole background in the end, and then I kept the leaves that was on the outer side of the wreath, and then I just key lined it in a silver gel pen over the key lines that happened within the Christmas wreath, and I think it looks alright. It's one of those things, I suspect that unless you mention it, there's a good chance that people might not even notice that it had gone wrong and that this was all meant to be the Christmas wreath. I've got this on PDF, so I can do it again if I want. But yeah, I've done all right on her hair. Her fairy wings I've actually used a metallic gel pen, and then I've used just a glitter gel pen. That was my Sakura pink. I've got 3 Sakura jelly rolls, so in case you're wondering how I always know exactly which one I've used, I've only got 3, so it's easy to remember. But yeah, I think the pink or the gold, I can't actually tell what it is, but I did that around her fluffy jumper, and then I used glitter gel pen on her lips, and I've made an effort on her eyes. I only do this occasionally. Usually the eyes are too small, so I don't usually bother with doing the little flecks, because I'm lazy. At the end of the day, I'm lazy. But her eyes were big on this, so I've done the flecks, and I really like how it's turned out. And this is one of my favourite handling pictures, even though technically it's all gone horribly wrong. But yeah, the pencil I used over the top would have been my marker Raffines. I've not used a lot of pencil, only on the trees and her hair, I think. Oh, and giving her a bit of a blush. Yeah, so that's that one. Dark Crystal. So I've never actually seen this movie or the new series. Shame on me, I know, but only so much time in the day to see everything. So this one I've actually done in watercolour, hence the crinkled paper. As I've mentioned before, I tend to be a bit more experimental in the books that, it's not that I don't like the book, because there's some really nice illustrations in here. There's some odd ones, but there's some nice illustrations. But it's because I've never seen Dark Crystal, like I don't have that affection for it that a lot of people do. So I decided I would experiment with my watercolours. These are the Arteza watercolour pencils. I thought, well, I'd give that a go, because if it goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. I like how it turned out. I did press this book to try and get out some of the crinkles, and it didn't work. So I'm clearly still using too much water, or maybe just the Colour in Heaven paper isn't great for water. But yeah, I wish I could get that crinkle out, because I do actually quite like that picture. And I did that picture on the 6th of September 2019. I didn't even go over the pencil with that. It's literally just watercolour, and I like how it looks. And then this is Colouring Heaven, the issue 54, which is the Halloween special, as you can see. I was actually on holiday when this one came, and when I came back off a holiday, I was on just life exploded. You know, apart from when you come back off a holiday, you feel a bit anyway. So I went into a complete colouring slump basically for the best parts of 5 months, 5-6 months. And obviously this came at the start of it, so I've only done one picture in this, and I only did this picture in June this year. See, I don't care that it's not Halloween. If I feel like doing a picture, I'll do a picture. It doesn't need to be the season. Besides, it's not Halloween. I mean, this could be Harry Potter, couldn't it? So we've got our little wizard here. I've gone for the fairly traditional, the oranges and the blacks and the purples. The smoke I put a marker down for it originally. I think I used, yeah, so originally I did it as grey. This is where I've based it in the alcohol marker. And I decided the grey was too dull. So I went over the top with one of these Spectrum Noir, the sparkle pens, which just give that shimmer. And it's a sort of peachy orange. It's kind of not far off what this would be. So I put that over the top of the grey, and it's just given it, turned the grey into a sort of smoky brown with a little bit of a sparkle. And I wanted it that instead of grey or white or whatever, because I decided that, you know, these little imps are coming out of the smoke. This is like his spell. So I wanted them the same colour as the smoke. So that's why I didn't make it traditional smoke. It's not smoke, it's magic. Hence the sparkles. And yeah, so all fairly straightforward. I've done a little bit of pencil work, but not a lot. Mostly I've relied on the alcohol markers. The background, I've done it in one of those metallic, look, the Bic marking, or they're Bic Intensity now, aren't they? Like the metallic markers, which are odd things, because they do give this nice sort of metallic sheen, but they're quite patchy. But I quite like it in the sense that I use them for backgrounds that I don't want to be completely solid. So this one, and I use it over water and things like that, where I actually like the sort of patchiness, because I don't want it to be a flat plain background. So yeah, that's the only one unfortunately I've done in this book because of my slump, but hopefully this Halloween I will get back to it. Of course by then I'll have a new Colouring Heaven one. Oh, I forgot, I was going to do a couple more mandala books. Let me do this one then. So this was one I bought from Ollie's for £1.99, which in the UK that's about £1.70. And there are, I think I counted them up, there's over 60 mandalas in here. So I've only done a few. I do them every now and again. Some of them are really detailed. I mean, not that one, but some are simple. I should do some of the simple, but some of them have got quite small spaces. You'll see one of the ones I've done is really, really small. So this one is fairly simple. I tend to do my mandalas in a very limited palette. I know a lot of people do like 5 colours. I tend to do 2 or 3 even. So this is all done in glitter gel pen. Pink and blue. A little bit, I've picked a couple of blues. Well, lighter blue, a darker blue, and a sort of a purplish blue. But yeah, essentially it's all pink and blue. And then I did this one. This was the same vacation in Florida that I did the Christmas book. So we was there for Halloween. So I did this in Halloween purples and orange. Again, very straightforward. But I did them with the gel pens that I bought from Ollie's. So that was alright. Nothing special though. I've done this one, which is a rare foray into super tips, I think it was. Because as you know, I don't really like water-based markers very much, because I get twitchy about the streaks. But on something like this, it doesn't matter, because for a start they're one-sided, so if I want to go over and give it a second coat to even something out, it doesn't matter. But also, because they're just the narrow parts, the streaks rarely show up, at least not so big as to notice. And then one more I've done. So this is like the complicated one that I was telling you about. They do have small ones with lots of details. This is one that I went a bit cross-eyed on as well. Bit like the Belba book with all the squares, because there were so many small circles and lines. I think this took me like 3 or 4 days to do, not because it was difficult as such, but like I'd do it for 15-20 minutes and I was cross-eyed. So I did that in fine liners. You can see it's bled through a little bit, but yeah, I just used that simple fine liners. But I really like how it turned out. I've just bought it's going to be coming up in a haul shortly, if it's not already up. I don't think it's up yet, but in a book haul I actually bought the Camellia Andrikova amazing mandalas, which are all really intricate mandalas. So yeah, clearly I'm a sucker for punishment. Talking of Camellia Andrikova, so I've got these nighttime mandala books. Like the first mandala book I showed you, but I really like the black backgrounds, so I bought this one when this came out. I've got to get back to it because I really love how the colours pop in this. Again, as you can see, I've used 3 colours, or 4 if you include that I used black, and I did that in Sharpies. Nice and simple, didn't take me long. I just did that in June. That's when I got this book, was in June. And then the other one I've done, again, it's got even simpler. I've used 2 colours, 2 markers, just pink and teal green. I really love this colour combo. And then I just left bits white. So technically, I suppose you could say it's 3 colour because it's pink, blue and white. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, on to Kerby, because this is what you're waiting for really, isn't it? Let's see what I've got up to here. So this is Geomorphia. Shame on me, I've only actually done one out of here, but this is actually one of my favourite pictures that I've ever done, ever. And it was completely unexpected, which is probably why I enjoyed it so much, because, you know, sometimes it's not that I didn't start the picture not expecting to like it. I chose it because it was an elephant and it's fun, but it just exceeded my expectations in the effect. It didn't come out. I often have ambitions for my pictures that I can never live up to, so now consequently I tend to lower my ambitions, and then, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised if something goes better than expected, and this was one of those pictures. So I did this with Arteza real brush pens, which are really highly pigmented, and as you can see, I mean, this is really pretty good paper. It's all nearly card, and it does bleed through because they are really juicy pens. And they have lots of greens in the Arteza, because I've got the full set, which I think is 120 maybe, I can't remember. It's quite a lot. And then, anyway, it's got loads of greens. So I went to town with the greens on all these little trees. And again, and then I've used it, I think I used tip to tip to blend a little bit, and then I went over for the dark bits. But this whole thing is all the greys, the stonework where I've gone in. These are all with the real brush pens, and I loved how it turned out. And then for the sky, I used the Arteza watercolour pencils. So that has actually worked out really well for me, as opposed to, you know, the Colouring Heaven book. It's not buckled. So either I was learning how to do it, or when did I do this? No, 9th of the 2nd. I did it in February 2019, so this was before the Colouring Heaven. So maybe I don't use too much water, maybe it's just a Colouring Heaven paper. But anyway, I used the watercolours for the sky, and then whilst they kind of look white, I actually used the watercolours, a really sort of icy blue. It was an almost white, for the clouds, but it meant then I went over all the key lines with a white Posca, and it just different, you know, for once, instead of it all merging as white, it's not. You can actually see the white Posca stands out just a little bit to make the clouds. And then I've gone over in what could only be like, I must have been crazy with the idea, but it worked and I liked it. But I went over the key line of every single tree up here and all these trees. I went over in a green Posca pen to take out the key line, and it was, I actually didn't mind it, to be honest. It was quite therapeutic, just going over all the just the outer lines. I didn't do the inner lines, but yeah, it just made this effect. It just softened because it took out all the black key lines. Yeah, love this picture so much. I enjoyed colouring it. I enjoy looking at it, but I enjoyed colouring it, and that's the main thing. Yeah, so that's Geomorphia. Next we are on to Fantomorphia. Now what have I done? Alright, so I've got a whip in here just where I'm starting the This Book Belongs To page. I'm actually doing this in Inktense. I got a bit sidetracked from it recently. Obviously I need to go back in, do more, do the snake, and then get some more of this yellow into the filigree. I don't know, I might try and get this. It's not that far from being done, because once it is, it won't take long to do some pencil work over the top just to help with the shading. So I might try and get this done for Whipping the Whips. We'll see if that makes it to the July pages or not. But yeah, that was my Inktense page. Then I've done this page. Now I did this on the 30th of August 2019. As you can see, I've used alcohol markers for most of it. The leaves I didn't. The leaves I experimented in because I wanted the crow to really stand out. Like, so I went for this, the leaves. I'd heard that, you know, you have them sort of old-fashioned artist drawings of flowers that are sort of, they're grey. They've got that grey tinge to them because they're old. So basically I put some, I think that was the Real Brush pens, because they have so many greens. Was it Real Brush pens or maybe the Pitt? No, it wasn't. I lie. It was the Faber-Castell Pitt pens, which are ink based, but I used a grey and I put some down just on a plate and then picked it up with a water brush, and I just basically underline, put a coat of grey ink basically. Basically I was making my own sort of grayscale, but it wasn't to give shading, it was just to pull back the greens. And then I went over the top just with the Real Brush pens, the Arteza Real Brush pens. So it was a bit of both. And then I did this, I used a Copic marker, one of my rare Copic markers. Two, in fact. I've got two pink ones, one light pink and one dark pink. Man, that was a mistake, because, like, I mean, it looks great and all, but this paper just drinks the ink. I actually killed one of my Copics because it was so thirsty. It just sucked up all the ink. But anyway, he looks good, I think. It's a really, really simple palette. Obviously, it's just a blue background. We've got the pink bird, we've got a bit of yellow, and we've got the green, and that's it. And then I've just done the hidden objects, a bit of gel pen. And then the other one I've done in here is my bat. So I did him on the 25th of February 2019. I've done his wings. I mean, they are in glitter pen, but they're sort of, it was the Sakura gold gel pen. So they're almost shimmery as opposed to all out glittery, especially as the pencils I've used, which is the purple, and also on this bit, I don't know if it's showing up, but there's a sheen to these. These are the Spectrum Noir metallic pencils. So they do have a sheen to them, which probably in hindsight was a bad idea, because by having a sheen on the pencil next to the glitter pen, it actually pulls back. It lessens the effect of the glitter, basically, because you've got glitter next to shiny. But aside from that, I mean, I still like him, so that's okay. It's not quite how I expected him to turn out, but I still like it. That's my bat. And that's all I've done in this one. So next is Imagimorphia. Now this is, I've got 2 copies of this book. The other one is still untouched as yet, but I will get to it. Basically, I bought this one second hand. So there's a couple of pictures done in it already. I wish I'd done them because they're quite good. The other one she did. This is cheating a bit. These aren't my pages, but I'll just give a quick flash there. These are the ones she's done. But yeah, I did get this copy, and obviously it had a couple of pages done in it already, which is why I got a second copy in the end. But this is the page. It's a whip. I've not quite finished it. I've been using the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens, so they are that ink, as opposed to it being just pigment. They are ink, which are really nice effect on this sort of semi-grayscale art of Kerby's. They're hard to blend with, the Pitt pens, because they dry so quickly and they're ink. So once they're gone, once they're down, they don't shift. So you have to be super quick if you want to try and blend. So it's a slow progress, and I've been working on this since I think maybe August 2018, and every now and again I'll pick up a few pens and I'll do like the birds or something like that. So I'm not that far off of it. I've just got to decide how I'm going to do these last few bits and pieces, and then I've got to decide on the background, because I had a small incident. I don't know if you can see it, but I dropped my Pitt pen. So I probably would have put a pastel background on this and kept it simple, but having dropped a pen on it, it's going to be paint. I just have to decide whether I want to do it black, but I don't think I want to do it black. I was thinking maybe either a sort of teal turquoise blue, in which case I would do, on this page, I would do the shell blue and a pink background, so they'd be like, you know, connected but opposite. Or I've got some gold, like rose gold acrylic paint, which might work quite well, and we'll make it shiny. But partly that's why it's still a whip for so long, because every time I look at it I can't make up my mind how I'm going to handle the last few bits, so I put it off. And that's the only picture I've done. Is that? No, I lie. I've done the illustrated by. So this I've done in gel pens, glitter gel pens, as you can see. And if you're not familiar with how this looked like before, that writing there is black text. Now if you used a normal gel pen, that wouldn't show up too well because it just gets absorbed by the black. But I used the Pentel hybrid, or I think they call them Sparkle Pops in the US. Basically they're designed for writing on black paper as well as white paper. They colour shift. So I used those because when it was on the black ink, obviously it just shifted to the gold, and you can see it just fine. So I really like how that turned out. But nice and simple. I think I did that in a day. And then my last Kerby book, which is Imagimorphia, of course. I've done a couple in here. Well, I've finished one. I've got a couple of whips. So this is the only one I've actually finished, which is my Green Man. I used Black Widow pencils for this. I did this on, I camouflaged the date on these things. Let's see. I did that on the 19th of August 2018. So this is one of the earliest things I did outside of Johanna Basford and a couple of Colouring Heavens. This was like one of the first real pictures that I did. I was so pleased with how it turned out. I think that's the first time I ever used like Posca pen, all sorts of things. So yeah, it took me ages to try and do all the shading, and obviously I was overthinking it massively because I was trying so hard to make it, you know, different textures. You know what it's like when you first start, you overthink things sometimes, and I definitely overthought that, but I really like how he turned out. The other one is a whip here. If you're familiar with Colour with Sammy's YouTube channel, you may recognise this if you've been there for a couple of years. She started this as a colour along, and then poor Sammy, she lost her mojo with the picture basically, and I stayed a couple of steps behind because I'm quite slow, so I thought eventually I would catch up at the end, you know. Just I wanted to take my time with it, so I stayed intentionally sort of one step behind her, but of course she never came back to it because she lost her mojo. So eventually I'd need to finish my coral and finish the leaves in here and put in the sea and the sky. So there isn't really that much to do. The hard part was the turtle. I did this all in Black Widows because those are the only pencils I had at the time apart from the Marco Raffines. Black Widows were my good pencils. She did the colour along in Prismacolors, so it does look different from hers. That's another thing though, a lot of people look at, you know, they'll see a colour along and they'll be using Prismacolors or Polychromos, and you're like, but I don't have those pencils. It's okay. Just if you see that they're using a dark green and then a lighter green and then an orange, just look and see what you've got and do your best to match them. You can do all the colour alongs even if you don't have the pencils that were used by the original person. So yeah, one day I will get back to him because I really like how he turned out. Sammy was the one who taught me, like, you didn't just have a brown warp thing on your turtle. There's like greens and pumpkin oranges and all that sort of thing in there. So yeah, and then the only other picture that I've done in here, where is it? Well, it's not done, it's another whip, double page spread. I made the mistake of saying to my partner for him to pick a picture for me to do, and he chose a double page spread in the Kerby book. So yeah, that's been taking me a while. I've been doing this since beginning of 2019. I think January or February I started this, so it's going on 18 months. I pick it up every now and again and I'll do a rose, so I'm nearly there with the roses. Then I've just got to do is gold, which I'll probably just use gold paint for that, and then put on the background. So it's not, oh, I'll need to put a bit of shading on the horsey, but it's not that far from being done. So yeah, one day I'll get around to finishing my poor uni horse. But that's it. Oh, I think, is it this one I've done it in? Just a test page is there. Yeah. So at the back, this was me just fooling around with the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pens. As I say, they're water-based, so they do streak. Even though they're ink, they are still also water-based. But they're really good for sort of sketchy type art. Not necessarily just grayscale, but the sketchy effect of a Kerby book. So that was just me trying them out. So that is it for the day, for this part. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give a thumbs up if you did, because that really helps the channel. And if you're waiting for part 4 as well, that will be coming soon. So do subscribe if you haven't, hit the bell, and then you'll get a notification of when the next part of this series goes up. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Take care and see you again soon. Bye for now.